Caught my girlfriend of 6 years cheating on me with my own father in our bed. So I kicked her out, exposed them both, and then asked out her sister. I am 26 years old and my GF, who I will call Shar, is 24. My father, who I may refer to as Clark, is 52, and my mom, Dee, is 50. It's surreal to be in a situation like this. Never in a million years did I think it could happen to me. But here we are. This is my first time using Reddit, but I thought I'd give it a try for some advice. Based on other posts, it seems like people appreciate some backstory, so I'll do my best to provide all the relevant details. However, this has only been going on for a week, so please forgive me if I get emotional while sharing my story. Shar and I first met during her freshman year of college. We met at a frat party. She was a part of a sorority and my frat was putting together a party, or a fundraiser for sorts. But it was easy to bump into each other and strike up a conversation because we shared the same mutual friends. Anyways, it wasn't until later that we discovered we grew up only a few towns away from each other. Whenever we went home, I would offer her a ride and it only added about 30 minutes to our trip overall, so it was really no trouble. As we spent more time together on campus and outside of school, our friendship turned into something more. We come from close-knit families and we both had the support of our loved ones when we told them about our relationship. Our families quickly accepted each other and our love for each other continued to grow. When we met, I only had about 2 years left of my degree, while she was really just starting. So naturally I graduated first. After I graduated, I moved back home about 3 hours away where I was offered a fantastic job opportunity with great pay. While Shar was still finishing up her studies, I would visit her whenever possible and she would do the same when she came home. Long distance was hard only because things were getting pretty serious for her in her studies, so there wasn't much time to talk, but we managed. She was wanting to pursue law after her initial degree, so her nose was really crammed in the books and I really respected her for that. She was driven, and that's why I loved her. I had it all planned out too. I knew she was the one. I just knew it deep down in my bones. I was going to save up enough to buy a place back in the city. I knew she had quite some time ahead of her in school before she could actually practice law, so I knew I'd have to be the one to compromise to move back into the city, and hopefully find a transfer there since I was making some good money. Once she graduated from her degree, she moved in with me in an apartment I was renting back home where I grew up until she applied for law school. She said she wanted to take a semester off before starting back up again, and I agreed. I thought that would give us some time to find a place in the city that we wanted to start our lives together in. And now on to the part you've all been waiting for. Looking back now, there were many things that I overlooked and dismissed as my father simply trying to welcome my ex into our family. Like his constant phone calls to her, which they would brush off as just discussing upcoming family events. One time when Shar was in the shower and her phone rang, I saw it was my dad. I answered and he sounded surprised and upset when he realized it was me. He said he wanted to talk to Shar about something she said she needed help with. I asked him what it was and he said it was something around the apartment that she said she asked me to fix, but I just didn't get around to. I sort of laughed and said, okay. I feel like there could have been something I maybe missed, but I don't ever remember her asking me to fix anything. Usually I'm pretty good with that sort of thing. He said that maybe he was mistaken and we ended the call after a minute. Looking back now, I can't believe I didn't see the signs sooner. It was just another normal day when I found out. Shar usually made us breakfast before I left for work. She gave me a kiss goodbye and told me to have a good day just like every other day. During my drive to work, I remembered some important paperwork that I had forgotten for a meeting at 2 p.m. I brushed it off and planned to go home during my lunch break to pick it up. Throughout the day, Shar texted me mundane things like what we should have for dinner and that she did the laundry. She said something like we should go to the new bakery that opened up in town to try some of these gourmet cookies. When lunchtime rolled around, I didn't bother telling her that I was coming home because it was just going to be a quick in and out and she usually took the time to study for her LSAT test, so I left work without saying anything and headed home. As I pulled into the parking lot of our building, I noticed a truck that resembled my father's in visitor parking. But I didn't think much of it and just went inside. I figured that maybe he had cleared things up with Shar on what I had missed fixing and they were sorting it out. I also thought that I wasn't going to hear the end of it from Shar or my father for this one. Not that she nagged me or anything, but just that I was too busy for her or that's the last time she trusted me to do anything around our home. That and the whole emasculating thing, having to get your dad to come to the rescue, didn't really sit well with me. Anyways, I opened the door and to my surprise, there was a trail of clothing leading to our bedroom. My father's work boots were at the front door. His pants sprawled out. Her clothes all over. Her black bra. Pink G-string. Then came the sound of moaning. Well, that's not a sound you want to hear coming from your own father, but I knew it was him right away. I felt sick to my stomach. I don't know why, but I had to see it for myself. I took out my phone to record because I knew no one was going to believe me. It just felt like autopilot. I gathered all the clothes on the floor in one hand and my phone in the other. Then I walked down the hallway, recording as I walked to our bedroom. The door was open, and I stood there for about a minute before throwing their clothes onto them as they were going at it. They both jumped, looked at me, I'm looking at my father bare naked with nothing but his socks on, just boning my girlfriend, the love of my life. In that moment, it was just too much for me to handle. My father noticed I was recording and panicked, trying to cover himself up while telling me to stop recording. Shar was throwing pillows at me. He reached for my phone, but I pushed him back and he fell into the dresser and then onto the ground. Shar shrieked in surprise. Then I turned my camera towards her. I was like, how could you? What do you have to say for yourself? And then a bunch of things that a parent would say to their child, scolding them. My father scrambled up after trying to put his clothes back on, and I told them that I just needed to grab something for work and then I'd be heading back after working my SS off for her and our future. Then I said but who knows what the future holds now. I said something to the effect of she just shit all over my life and made a fool out of me. I said if either of them were still here when I returned, I would be sending this video to everyone they knew. Then I ended the recording. I put my phone in my pocket and I told him he was dead to me. I told him I can't wait to tell Mom. And then he got up, furious, and said that he couldn't tell her. He lunged at me, trying to get my phone out of my pocket, and I told him I'll send the video to her right now if he lays another hand on me. So then he let go and started pleading to me to not say anything and that they'd never do it again. I told him that I'm giving him the opportunity to tell Mom what he's been doing with my girlfriend. I said Mom's finding out either way. I sat in my car, trying to compose myself as I received a call from one of my bosses at work asking where I was. I hadn't realized how long I had been sitting in the car for. But I assured her that I was on my way back. I had gathered what I needed and told her that I was on my way to the office. But as soon as I walked in, she could tell something was wrong just by looking at me. I brushed off her concern, insisting that it was nothing and that I would be okay, and that I was looking forward to the meeting. Still not buying it, she asked for an explanation and I showed her the video on my phone. She watched silently, realizing that not only was my GF cheating on me, but it was with my own father. The one guy I had always trusted the most. Offering to help in any way she could, she suggested I take some time off. She said they'd be fine in the meeting without me and that she'd understand if I wanted to take some time off. But I declined, telling her I just needed a minute and that the best thing I could do right now was get my mind off of things and rock this meeting that I prepped really hard for. Putting on a fake smile for everyone during the meeting, I pretended like everything was normal. My boss couldn't understand how I could put up such a front, and I told her that I had to. I had to have control over something because it felt like the rest of my life was falling apart. She said if I needed a place to stay, her and her husband had a basement suite available. Before you think she's hitting on me, she's not. This kind, sweet woman is in her 60s and she's like a second mother to me. I thanked her and I told her that I'd let her know. I felt sick as the day went on. I was dreading going back to the apartment. I didn't want to see her. I hoped to God that my father wasn't there still. I kept checking my phone to say if there was any missed calls or texts, but there was nothing from Shar or Clark or my mom. I don't remember the drive home. But when I came home, the weight of everything hit me and I just cried in my car for a really long time before going upstairs. When I walked in, she was sitting in the living room on the couch and looked like absolute dog shit. As soon as she saw me, she got up to hug me, but I pushed her off. I told her she had to pack her things and go. I said I had plans for us. I was going to marry you. I waited for you. She said, I'm sorry. I know, I'm sorry. It's not what you think it is. And I'm like, how is it not exactly what I think it is? Pretty sure my father was inside of you. Unless he's built like a Ken doll and you were just bumping bumps, but I doubt that. She started sobbing and said that he forced himself onto her. I said I doubt that. I said how long has this been going on for? She said not long and I said what's not long? I said there's no point in bullshitting to me now. Then she tells me that there was a brief thing last Christmas when I went to bed early because I had too much to drink and they kept drinking in the basement and ended up making out on the couch. Then she said they both woke up and acted like nothing happened until she moved in with me a few months ago and he asked her to come over. She said she didn't want to at first, but he said that he'd tell me what they did together. I said bullshit. You still went over. Well, I told her to leave and she wouldn't leave. She literally fell to her knees and told me that she didn't mean to and she was so sorry and she'd do anything. I said, "Kay, well, then I'm leaving." And then she tried to grab onto my knees like she was some little kid and I tried to walk away to pack my bags, but she held on and I ended up dragging her down the hall to our bedroom. Anyways, I ended up packing her shit because I decided I wasn't leaving my home. I said it's time you get the hell out of here. I carried her bags all the way to the hallway outside of our apartment while she was sobbing and completely losing it. I threw her bags out into the hallway and pried her off my legs. I said if she doesn't leave I'm calling the cops and sending the video to everyone we know. And then that was that. She got up and left. I called my mom later that evening and she asked if I'd seen my father. I said that I had. She said that she hasn't seen him all day and he was supposed to be back from work already. There was a moment that I had thought about not telling her and just hoping my father would tell her. But then I knew that my mom deserved better. So I told her everything. I said I'm sorry to tell you over the phone like this but. And then I just let it all out. I sat there sobbing like a baby to my mom. Apparently my dad came back the next day and tried to act like he had just gotten drunk at his brother's place and lost track of time and passed out, but she said she knew everything. She kicked him out of the family home, and we don't know where he's been staying and frankly don't care. But I guess he's been fired from his job. Thank you for reading. Maybe I'll be back with an update. Update? Well, I'm back. For a while, I thought about not sending the video to anyone. But then I was sitting at my apartment thinking of the lives that the man I used to call my father and ex just ruined with their selfishness. And I just couldn't stand for that. There was no way they were going to walk away unscathed from this. It was a small town, so there were a bunch of rumors going around about why my mom kicked out Clark. I really just couldn't handle the drama anymore, and my mom was too nice to say anything. She kept saying he was on a fishing trip. So I sent the video to a family chat, and I sent the video to my entire friend group and all of our mutual friends. I just wanted them to hurt like my mom and I. I'll never forget seeing him on my bed with my girlfriend, my love. The woman I wanted to spend forever with and the woman I had admired and adored. I realized I didn't know her. And I didn't know who Clark was all along. My whole life was a lie, and I didn't want my mom to have to make up lies to try to protect some scumbag. After I sent the video, I heard from Char's older sister, Shay, and she told me she was so sorry for what Char did. She said she was really rooting for me and I did a lot for her. She said that she still wants to be in my life. I decided to shoot my shot and ask her out, and we're actually going for coffee next week. She studied psychology in Edinburgh and was now in the city practicing in her own clinic. Anyways, apparently the video completely leveled Char's life and her parents aren't talking to her. They aren't helping her with school anymore either. They were paying for her schooling, and so since they've cut her off, she's no longer going to law school. She's also apparently couch surfing with some chick she was at the sorority with. My dad's staying in a camper on some random guy's land outside of town. Anyways, I feel good. And I'm looking forward to seeing Shay. You never know what the future holds.